Morning all. It's oh, what is it? Episode 24, the 16th of April 2020. Dawn's a bit slower this morning, well behind me getting up. So I'm recording the intro as previously. Um, I'm going to indulge myself a little bit here. She said something yesterday where she was if you're feeling down, and she came up with some advice, and it reminded me of a song, but unfortunately I couldn't remember the words, and it was by the Mindbenders, but also followed up later, but in the 80s, by Phil Collins, called Groovy Kind of Love. Just want to take a listen to the words because it resonated with me yesterday.
When I'm feeling blue, all I have to do is take a look at you. Then I'm not so blue. When you're close to me, I can feel your heartbeat. I can hear you breathing in my ear. Wouldn't you agree? Baby, you and me got a groovy kind of love.
There you go. That's old Phil from Genesis. He had a great spell in the 80s as well. But if you're feeling down, all you got to do is take a look at you, and hopefully everybody's got somebody who can lift them up a little bit. We're lucky enough to have Dawn, of course, and she'll be on in a second. But that isn't my intro music, because we had Adrian Raw yesterday, who was back in seconds of me going live with the video to guess yesterday's intro music, which I'll talk about in the feedback. But today we're going with this one, bit more obscure to a few of you, but let's see who can get this. Oscar's coming in, so he might interrupt me in a minute, but let's go with this one for big build up for Dawn. Here we go. There we go. Over to Dawn.
Hello.
Hi, Dawn. Morning.
Hi, Mark.
You're a little bit behind me this morning, aren't you?
I know. I'll tell you why in a minute. I'm just putting my sound up.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Now I can.
Yeah.
I've done 2 17-hour days on the trot. No, 3 17-hour days on the trot. Getting up at 6:30 or 6 o'clock and going to bed about 11ish. And last night I fell asleep. I was really tired. So I now know how these poor nurses feel when they're doing like a 12-hour shift, coming home, me, etc., etc. But nothing like the stress involved, just the physical side. And that's why I was doing it.
No.
And also getting up to see Oscar in the morning.
Yeah. Well done. I'm glad you're human. And anyway, we got an action-packed episode this morning, I think.
Oh gosh, have we?
Yeah, not too difficult questions, but I think we should put a disclaimer that we're not experts in our fields, in many fields, are we? We're just giving our opinion.
Oh no, it's just how we behave normally in the everyday world. I could say a few things, but I won't.
No. So take some of our advice with a pinch of salt, perhaps. But yeah, I feel better. I had a constructive day yesterday. I made a list of actually what I did. We did this video, put it out there, did a good an email to the club, weekly email to the distance runners, went for a walk, watched a bit of Ozark, did a bit of gym work, and then I attended an England athletics webinar or seminar for a half an hour, which was my first ever one, which was quite interesting, about endurance running. And so they're running a series of those. So if anyone's got a bit of time, just join in. You don't have to contribute. You just message them, ask a question or whatever, and they answer back. So I thought it was quite good, actually. So might attend one or two more of those. I know Angie Crush said on here that she bit of feedback. She did a pole vault one the other day. So yeah, quite good. And then to finish off the day, and this is a sound bit of advice, I had a little dabble with a new bit of kit for cutting hair. And yeah, my advice to people is plan a bit and prepare. Don't just go diving in. I started diving in, and you can't see it, but I took a big chunk out here, and that didn't go well. The sides are easy, but I would go on YouTube and bring up a video first and do some research about how to do it. Don't you think, Dawn? I mean, your hair looks wonderful all the time, of course.
That's because I don't let you anywhere near it. And now you've got clippers, you're definitely not coming near me. No, I think you did okay on the sides bit, but then you got cocky and then you did the front bit. Never mind, dear. It'll grow. That's the good thing. And you're looking very grey as well.
Yeah. So anyway, on to feedback. I'll be very quick. I've done couple of bits of intro music for you this morning, which you haven't heard. Adrian Royal was back like lightning, almost as quick as he used to run 10,000 metres yesterday morning. I'd hardly put the video out there, and he was back with Emerson, Lake and Palmer was the intro music yesterday to you, which is quite right. Fanfare for a Common Man. Used a lot of Crystal Palace. I expect Adrian raced in some of the races at Crystal Palace back in the day. He's known as a photographer at races. Alan Buckle, he liked your thought of being 35.
Yeah, I forgot about the vets, but 35 is a nice age.
Yeah, well, it's not a proper vet when you're 35, to be honest.
No, you're a beginner.
Alan's a little bit past that, and he actually enjoys getting older because then he gets to a new age category and becomes competitive again. He's happy with that.
I can't say anything to that.
No. Scott Shermer came back. He's admitted that he's finding it pretty tough at the moment. You know, in the current climate, mentally, he's had a tough few days. Went out for a run last night, Scott, and that felt better for that.
Yeah, big hugs to you, Scott.
Yeah, and he suggested a bit of music, which I'll probably use as an intro one of these days coming up. But I had one already in mind for today. Andy Poppleton made some good points about that balance between health, mental health, and financial health, and he made the point that poverty, it's been estimated, could cause longer term, of course, 150,000 deaths as a result of that, with people struggling.
It is quite staggering when you sort of look at it in the cold light of day. I don't know what the answer is, but I do think that, like that wonderful 99-year-old wanted to say he'd had a hip operation, and he wanted to say thank you to the National Health Service. He started off wanting to collate by walking 100 things in his garden, and he's landed up with nearly over 7 million. So there are some kind-hearted people. I think
it's 12 million now.
It's 12 million now. I mean, at 99, he's out there walking his garden because he wants to do something for the National Health Service. I think there are lots of people out there who have good experience in the National Health Service, and perhaps we should do a bit more in normal times as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I know the answer, but I'm saying that, if he can do it now, then it could be possible in other times.
Yeah, agree with that. And again, cousin Hubert from Canada, British Columbia, he's come back, and this is a big one actually. I mean, he's talking about mental health, and he thinks having a little treat to aim for, like chocolate. A couple of people mentioned chocolate as being good target to aim for, to encourage you for having a?
I mean, I do it with coffee as well. I don't have my cup of coffee. I have one cup of coffee a day, and I have to walk Oscar, and I have to do other things before I can have my cup of coffee. I set myself little goals, and then I have my cup of coffee, and it's like a little reward. It might sound very simple and very straightforward, and people think looking at me and so coffee I have about 10 a day, but I don't. I only have the one, so I look forward to that. But I always have a cup of tea in the morning, etc. But we're not really prolific tea drinkers, are we? I was counting how many times we have a cup of tea. We probably have a cup of tea 3 times a day. I'm thinking that's not very much at all.
All right, it's not good radio. Let's move on.
Shut up.
Hubert sent me one, and you'd think this was quite a simple thing, because one of these targets in this shutdown is to replace his garden fence.
Yes.
And I asked him, and it's the fence between him and his lovely neighbours. I guess he's been genuine. They are lovely. He sent me a photograph. It's on the Facebook feedback. They do look lovely. But he also sent a picture of his garden fence that he's considering to replace. And this sends out a lot of questions and messages to me. It's not just about replacing a fence. I'll show everybody. Can you see that?
Just about.
Yeah.
Stop waving it around. That's it, better.
All right. So we've got the sea in the background.
Yeah.
We've got a longer garden the fence covers. So it's a little bit of fence. And yeah, I've got some concerns, but you go first. What do you think about that?
Well, how often if he wants to attack, is it a sheer drop the other side?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But he's not in much danger. I suspect he's very capable of doing that.
I think you've missed what I was getting at, to be honest.
Well, I can't see it as clearly as you, obviously.
That is how your mind works and how my mind works. My mind has gone completely like this, and I'm thinking, what are the neighbours going to think unless he's communicated it well in terms of input? He's only got a little bit of fence up there. If it's an extensive fence, what are they going to think? Are they going to think, oh, he's shutting us out? 2, the height of the fence, is he going to cut off all communication with them, or is he going to keep it low? Has he been in a bit of a row for them for years, and it's about time he did his fence or not?
You got this from a picture?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a lot.
My God, I think you need psychological help.
You can't just throw yourselves into these things.
Look, he said that these are his words. I'm going to mend the fence. Mend the fence.
Okay, we'll see. If he keeps it the same length and height as he's got at the moment, that probably won't be a problem. But what's the point of doing that? Because it's hardly covering the length of the garden, is it?
Well, maybe he's doing it to keep a bush at their side and his side. I don't know. I suspect you need to ask a few more questions. You must apply this to, because otherwise your mind is working overtime in trying to solve or find a problem with something that may be very, very straightforward.
I've just realised you've got Nicole's basket with her knickers and stuff on the washing machine behind you.
Oh my God! No, you can't see her knickers. She won't. She won't be very happy with that.
Serve her right to sending these videos to her mate without looking at them. Right. Finally, after 23, 20, 24 episodes, I found we do have some younger viewers.
Oh, really?
They have, yeah. They've only commented indirectly, not directly, or liked things. Oh, that's how thing goes off. But yeah, I'm not going to name and embarrass them, but
no, don't do that.
They are watching. And so what I thought this is up to 30-year-olds. I thought we'd give a little bit of advice. What advice would we give to our younger self in our 20s or 30s? Okay.
Oh.
Now, I've got career, life, and hobbies. Which would you like to start with?
Oh, career.
Career. Have you got, looking back, have you got any advice that you would give to your younger self in terms of your career? Would you change anything?
Probably I would have had a little bit more like hands-on experience of choices. Like you go and try working in. I always knew I was good at numbers, so I became a bookkeeper and an accountant and did that. And because I found it was sort of like my strength, so I went to a strength. But I think nowadays you're able to go and try things. So if you're unsure, I mean, I was lucky enough to have sort of like determination on what I wanted to do, but if, for instance, you haven't got a clue what you want to do, now we can do a lot more like work experience. I mean, you might not get paid for it. I mean, I remember our work experiences at work. We used to pay them. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but I mean, they used to get £200-300 a month, and in those days, that was quite a lot of money, wasn't it? So they used to come and have various experiences, etc. So it's good that if you can do that, then you can sort of like narrow it down. That no, you don't like that. No, you wouldn't want to do that full time, etc. And do it. Because I think a lot of people land up in a job just to pay the mortgage sometimes today, and I'm not sure that that's a good thing. I mean, I'm a great believer that you've got to sort of like enjoy it to some degree to be able to develop it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's quite a good point about trying a few things beforehand to get, and really think about it. 'Cause I think you can drift into things and end up there for years and years if you're not careful. So
Okay. Well, I've got to go now. I'm really sorry about this, but I've got to go now. I can't tell you why. Not on air. I've got to go. Bye.
come back in a minute. Come back in a minute. Hang on, I'm recording again. All right. All okay then? Emergency. Yeah. Okay. We won't go into that. Right. Right. So we've done career. What about hobbies? Anything in your life, hobby wise, you wish you'd done differently.
I probably wish I'd stuck with some of my hobbies. I used to make my own clothes and design my own clothes, etc., and things like that. So I wish I'd really stuck at it. I mean, I haven't done it for years, but my mum said to me the other day, a few months back, a couple of months back, she said to me, "So why don't you make your own clothes? You were very good at it," she said. I said, I just don't get the time. I'm doing other things, etc. And I am. I've got grandchildren. I've obviously got my elderly parents. I mean, this is nothing to do with the virus or anything. I just enjoy being with them and helping them and making sure they're okay. So, at the end of the day, I sort of like thought about it and thought, well, I could probably, if I didn't do the gardening and other bits and pieces, I probably could do the best. But that's it's a thing that I really enjoy, etc. But it is a time-consuming thing.
Yeah, I thought that looking back at my younger self with my running, I think I could have been a lot more perhaps disciplined, had a better lifestyle around it, and had a bit more structure to the training.
What you mean, not going to the pub so often?
Yeah, it's a bit haphazard. Yeah, I let work impinge on it quite a lot as well. But yeah, I think the structure of it was a bit of a mess all over the way. Sort of make it up as you go along and just run how you feel. And it wasn't, it could have been a lot more, could have got a lot more out of it.
But you're putting those things that you've learned into your coaching experiences. So it's not sort of like, not any use at all, is it?
No, but looking back, it was a bit crazy how we operated, I think, compared to.
Yeah.
And
We all learn lessons, don't we?
Yeah. Anything else, particularly in life? We won't go into relationships and how to handle them. I think that might be a bit.
Oh God, no, because I mean everyone's different. I mean, and I think the easiest thing to say in relationship is that you have to get on and be sure.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add to the younger generation?
No, I think most of the answers that I've worked, met and worked with are pretty good. They're doing okay. They've got a good balance of life, etc. And I think that's why we're so lucky. most of the ones I come in contact with are at Tonbridge. So
I would say try and be nice to people. What's that old saying? If you haven't got something nice to say, don't say it. Don't say anything.
don't say anything at all. My mum used to say that all the time to me. And I do think the younger generation do sort of like say what they think, especially on social media, and not think about the consequences that person is going to receive it, and you might shatter their whole life. But you don't see it like that. Trolls and things like that. I mean, we talk about mental health a lot, and a lot of it is caused by people's opinions, and I have no idea why everyone thinks they can give their opinion. Sometimes it's better not to say anything, surely.
Good one. Well, that applies to older people as well, of course. So
Oh, good, yes, yeah.
probably done enough for this morning. So
Okay.
have a good think. We want more advice for the younger generation. Now we know they're watching us. Okay. Okay.
We love you all.
See you later.
Bye.